In the last episode of the Fiorentina Career Mode, we signed Porto star and Mexican international player Tecatito. Juan Mata was signed on a free as part of a pre-contract deal. An early exit in the Coppa Italia allowed us to focus on Serie A and place 5th in the league. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here, and welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Fiorentina Career Mode. This is episode number 3 and the start to season 2. We've already developed some incredible storylines in this save, and we're looking to build upon that for this new season. First off, as a result of our 5th place finish last season in Serie A, we have qualified for Europa League, which is always exciting. I'm looking forward to playing some other opponents, not just Italian sides, and of course it'll give us more opportunities to win silverware. And we do have a fairly new look Fiorentina squad for season 2. Of course, with Ribery's departure and his retirement, we have to option for a different left striker. I've decided to give Kwame the nod. As a result of his good performances toward the end of last season, he also has a fair amount of potential, so I'm hoping that we can fulfill that in this career mode. And just as a reminder, we made that pre-contract deal in episode 2. Now Juan Mata has officially arrived, and he'll be taking on the number 8 squad number. Of course, he wore that number for Chelsea and Manchester United. Let's keep that trend going here at Fiorentina. But as we look to take that next step, maybe progress to the later stages of Europa League, finishing top 4 in Serie A. If you guys could continue to show your support on this series by leaving a like on the video and subscribing if you are new around here so you don't miss out on any future content. I left y'all with an important decision to make at the end of the last episode as to which one of our star players would be seeing a departure in season 2 to reflect some realism in the save. I think the 2 top votes were either recalling from Chiesa on his loan and transfer listing him, or transfer listing Bonaventura as a result of his great performances in Serie A. And I was happy to hear some of your opinions on the matter, because some of the points y'all brought up I hadn't even thought about myself. I think the main one was that because Bonaventura is older and he's made the transfer here at Fiorentina, those sort of players don't tend to move around quite as much as someone like Chiesa would, who is younger, has loads of potential ahead of him, and of course with Juve likely picking him up on a permanent basis. I think this will be the most realistic option and also falls pretty well within our board objectives as we look to make a big profit margin this season. Not only will that mean players are leaving the club, but we're also going to have some crucial arrivals as we look to fulfill the financial objective. For youth development, pretty similar to last season, just adding some more players to our youth academy. For brand exposure, we still have that long-term objective of trying to have the average age of the squad all the way up at 29 years old. We have 3 years to make up. We're going to need some big arrivals to make that happen. Domestically, looking to reach the quarterfinal of the Coppa Italia and finish in a Champions League spot in the league. And finally, an ambitious objective for our continental success. The board wants us to reach the final of Europa League. To give you an idea of how much funds we're working with, we have about 57.5 million to begin the season. Keep in mind that number is going to go up with the departure of Chiesa, and fortunately, it was Juventus that submitted an offer originally at 41.3 million, but I think we could realistically have received anywhere between 40 and 60. We went right in the middle at 50 million. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for Chiesa. Of course, for some players making a move to a big club like Juventus, it doesn't pan out for them, but he featured a good amount for them in season 1. I think that's going to continue in season 2 onwards, and I genuinely wish him the best in his career. We'll probably track him later on this career mode so I can give you all an update. I thought this was a fantastic comment proposing that we do a swap deal for Chiesa, and we're going to do something along that sorts, of course receiving the funds for the Chiesa transfer, and now looking to sign one of Juve's own players, Daniele Rugani. He hasn't featured all that much for the old lady since making his transfer there from Empoli several seasons ago. He used to have a lot of potential in career mode, and you guys know I like a player with a real face scan in game, and I think this is going to be the perfect addition for us because at times last season we struggled defensively, and combined with the high potential players that we already have in our defense, Martinez Quarta and Milenkovic, I think this is going to complete a great trifecta and one of the best defenses in Serie A. Anyways, we completed this transfer for 20 million. Rugani agreeing to a crucial squad role on a 3-year deal worth 55 grand a week. And another goal for this season is to continue building upon that Ribery storyline. While he's retired, his regen is available in the free agents. Lorenzo Valls, a center forward / left wing, 18-year-old from France at a 68 overall. And what I'm going to do is stick him on a variety of different development plans to hopefully replicate Ribery's stats. So he's going to have the 5-star skill, 5-star weak foot combo, along with the same work rates, height, and preferred foot. At the start, he will be showing great potential, and the plan is to send him out on loan. That way he's going to get actual playtime at another club and eventually reach that same rating that Ribéry achieved, and if not even higher. Recapping all the deals that went down in this summer transfer window, of course, we had the Chiesa and Rugani transfers, and then the variety of loan options. The one that I'm really excited about is Segura. As soon as he goes out on loan starting in the January transfer window, we should see a massive improvement in his rating. He's already in the mid 60s, potential at 94, so I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the season if his rating is in the 70s. Fortunately, we also had Ribéry's regen go out on loan to a non-top 5 league side in Copenhagen, so I figure that he's going to feature a good amount for them. And again, it's going to be big money spent in Serie A. I don't know how we're going to keep up with some of these clubs. Inter spending 222.2 million on just 3 transfers: Koundé, Luis Alberto, and Declan Rice. Brozovic and Gagliardini leaving the club. Juve spent over 100 million, half of that coming from the Chiesa transfer, also adding Romero and Kovacic. Lazio with 73.2 million spent. Atalanta with over 70 million spent on 4 different transfers, including the veteran Piqué. And finally, it's Napoli that had 59.3 million spent on 2 different transfers. And this is really good to keep track of because it kind of gives me an idea of what an appropriate amount of money to spend in each transfer window. And I promise eventually we're going to break into the top 5. 2 new scouting networks as we keep our original scout in Italy for 6 months looking for any type of player. And we're also going to be heading to France for 6 months looking for a technically gifted player. This is just backup in case Ribéry's regen doesn't pan out to be all that promising. I figure if we can find another technically gifted player with good potential, he could be our Ribéry regen of sorts. We've got a few depth plan changes as we had a good amount of players returning from a loan spell, some of which have a decent overall and potential. Rasmussen is a good example of that because once he's on this stopper depth plan, I think he could see a good growth in his rating. Bonaventura, we decided to keep him, and now we're going to switch him to a center attacking mid role. That's going to give him a +1 in his rating as we switch him over to the shadow striker depth plan. Calhoun has seen a pretty rapid drop in his overall already, but we're going to try to mitigate that as much as possible, switching him to a right winger and sticking him on the wide winger development plan. And now Daniel Romano, by default he's a left winger, but I saw a lot of comments suggesting that we switch him to more of a central type of player. Even though center mid is one of his secondary positions, it's going to take him 135 weeks to play at that role. So instead, we're going to make him a center attacking mid, which I think suits his stats a little bit better. That's only going to take 64 weeks. So hopefully by the end of the season, that change will be completed. And for a change, we don't have the Coppa Italia to start off our league campaign. I think that's because we finished in a high enough league position. So we're going to start in Serie A with a fixture against Hellas Verona, and we'll pick up in the Coppa Italia in the next episode. So this will be the squad as things stand. Fortunately, Kwame has fully recovered from his injury. His sharpness is still quite low, but he will feature in the starting 11, along with Rugani as the central center back in this 3-1-4-2 formation. Juan Mata will be our impact player coming off the bench, and depending on how form goes, he may even feature in the starting 11, whether that be centrally or at left mid. But we'll get right into the gameplay, starting with Serie A and then switching over to Europa League. As we build upon our experiences in Serie A, one thing that has stood out to me is the number of teams that feature 3 at the back formations. Of course, it's a tactic that we use ourselves, which made for a good matchup against Hellas Verona. And the main question that was on my mind was whether we could maintain the same form in Serie A despite the loss of Ribéry. In order for us to do so, we'll need players like Kwame to step up. He helps us win possession here in the 15th minute, spotting out the run from Coman in the middle. He just mishits it as this effort goes slightly to the right. What a start to the season that could have been. We have given him the starting left mid role, and it will be interesting to see whether he can start to grow in his rating. Of course, dynamic potential has factored in to a lot of our career modes. Really yet to see that in one of our players so far for Fiorentina, as we do concede an unfortunate goal in the 20th minute. Just one of those deflections that fall straight back to the CPU, and we're not able to get a body in front of the shot in time. As we look to make a substitution, it just hasn't been the best start for Coman, unable to score a goal and now suffering a 3-month injury, as we'll have the first appearance for Juan Mata. He was promised the crucial squad role in his contract, and it appears like he'll be playing that role for the next 3 months. We'll have a chance to find the equalizer just before the halftime break. Kwame played into space. Of course, he has the pace to get by the defender, just doesn't have the composure to find the back of the net. It really has been his downfall, He's generated so many opportunities for us, but hasn't made the most of them yet. Hopefully that'll change in the coming seasons as we get another chance in the 45th minute. Vlahovic on his weak foot didn't have a lot of power behind that shot. A slight error here from Rugani or Martinez Quartz. I'm not sure who's to blame on this occasion, but it's going to be a second goal for Hellas Verona. Not how I wanted to start this Serie A campaign, but we are getting used to a new back line. It's going to come with some growing pains, and I'm not going to give up on our tactics yet. I still think we have the right selection of players. Some experimentation is needed though. Kokorin will be brought on as a substitute. Still has the higher overall rating compared to Kouame, so maybe he'll be the answer for us up top. Juan Mata with a pretty good run, just needed to play that ball into some more space, and it should have been a chance for us to score. Some patient build-up play, Bonaventura to Vlahovic. Again, another very good goal-scoring chance, this time on his preferred left foot, just dragged wide. I was frustrated because we were clearly the better side on paper, more possession, more shots on target, just no goals to show for it, and that's how it's going to be sometimes. But we can't let this performance impact us too much as we have our first Europa League fixture against Victoria Pleasant. The Czech side don't have a lot of players in their starting 11 that I know of, but they've done well to get here. And with this being our first opponent outside of Italy, I didn't really know what to expect. But the simulated away result will help us gauge the quality of our opposition as we did win that fixture 3-0. And as long as we continue to improve, I see no reason we can't make good on our board objective of reaching the final of this competition. It didn't take long for highlights to start flowing. This is some excellent build-up play. Kouame with the awareness to spot out the run from Vlahovic. It ends up being a tap-in, and that is how we're going to kick off the scoring in this one. As we get more familiar with the Fiorentina tactics and this new selection of players, hopefully we can score more goals like that one. It's going to be another defensive mistake, and this one was all me. I dragged Milenkovic a little bit too far to the left. That left an open striker, and it's going to be the equalizer for our opponents. But here in the 16th minute, practically straight after kickoff, it's our highest rated player, Tecatito, bursting into the box, waiting for that run and separation from Kouame. And this is where he excels. He just finds himself in the right sort of positions, and I don't know what it is about those sort of goals that he just has the finishing ability. But we're going to draw a foul here in the 21st minute. Bonaventura is now on set piece duties with the departure of Ribéry. We've still yet to score a free kick goal, and basically every free kick I've been showing that gets close. This is the one though, guys, into the back of that. You can even see we get an achievement for it. Sharpshooter, and that will give us the 3-1 lead. This meant a lot to me. You guys know I've struggled so long, and I've taken your tips on board. A look at the replay, easily over the wall, a little bit of dip on the free kick as well, and you really can't ask for much more than that. The fact that we also made the decision to keep Bonaventura this season has certainly paid dividends. But we're still in the first half here. This match had a lot of highlights, and it's going to be another chance for Victoria Pleasant to cut one back, but a good save from Drumgoski. As we get into the second half, Juan Mata cutting in on his right foot and drawing a foul just outside of the penalty area, literally inches from being a penalty kick. But now we seem to have the free kick tactic down to a T, a green time finish, and this is an excellent save from the goalkeeper. Originally off of his glove, then off of the post to deny the effort. And while I would rather have Coman in the starting 11, the injury is going to give room for our homegrown talent to make the occasional appearance. Here he's being brought on for Juan Mata, and while he works on becoming a center midfielder, I think he's still going to feature as a left winger / left mid. In the 70th minute, Pleasant grab one back. I don't think that's going to be making much of a difference on this match, as here in the 88th, we're still pushing players forward. Romanu has a couple of options in the middle. He's going to go himself, though, and on his right foot, still hitting the side netting. Finishing is probably his weakest aspect of the game, but he's still a young player and has plenty of time to improve. A great start to our Europa League campaign, though. 3 points in what is going to be a tough group. Things are going to start getting more difficult, though. Everton is the first Premier League opponent that we've played so far, and will probably be the first of many as we continue in these European competitions. Everton already a very strong side in career mode. They've made some additional transfers, including Dumfries at the right back position. And it's kind of nice to travel away to Goodison Park. Of course, not too many real stadiums in Serie A, so we'll have to make the most of these Europa League away days. James Rodriguez had a fantastic start to his Premier League campaign, and he will continue that good form here in the Europa League, giving Everton their first goal. One of those situations where it's a 50-50 between the attacker and the defender. James comes out on top there as Everton continue the pressure. Bernard sending in the cross, and a rising effort saved by Dromgoski as it's another chance in the 25th. Everton's right back cutting in, and another cross sent in. This time, Dromgoski unable to get his gloves to it, and that'll double Everton's lead. I've got to hand it to them. They had their tactics set before the match, and they've implemented them perfectly. And to be fair, Milinkovic is one of our tallest defenders, but it just wasn't enough. We'll see if the rest of this match has a different result in store, as this should have cut the deficit in half. Vlahovic, an uncontested header, should be finding the back of the net on that occasion, but going just over the crossbar. As a good job from Amrabat here to win his back possession. Castrovilli over to Vlahovic. He's going to try to get this on his left foot and finessing it to the far corner. Pickford with the save, and one final chance here in the 73rd. Vlahovic bringing the ball down. We're really using his target man instructions, but the Everton defense gave us absolutely no space to score. And this will be the third consecutive match where we've conceded 2 goals. But we'll close out our Europa League group stage campaign against Malmo, Zlatan's former side, and they gave us a surprise defeat in the away fixture. It ended 1-0 despite us having the majority of possession, shots, and chances. This match will hold a lot of importance because the simulated result was huge for Malmo. If they can double up here and get another victory, that probably would be enough for them to advance out of the Europa League group stage, which would be a huge achievement. But we're going to get the first chance here in the 3rd minute. Again, trying to hang on to some possession, replicate some Fiorentina tactics. Now Vlahovic spotting out the run from Bonaventura over to Kouame. I felt like the buildup was perfect. We couldn't find the finishing piece, though. It's a recurring theme for Kouame, and not too much really for us to change. I feel like tactics-wise, we've got the right setup. We just need the right players in front of goal. Another chance here as the ball's bouncing around, but Malmo eventually collects, trying to distribute out of the back. It's going to be a header one from Pulgar, who decided to get the start in this one over Amrabat. I've seen a couple of comments saying that I should feature him more often, and I think that's viable because he's been one of the surprise substitutes, growing a lot from the defensive midfielder depth plan, as he was a big part in that goal. Kouame finally on his left foot will give us the opener, and I'd like to see some more of that from him. As we continue with these highlights, I would like to score a second goal to give a little bit more cushion for error. You never know what's going to happen with the computer. They can score from a set piece or just a good bit of build-up play like this one here. Dromgoski has to come off his line and does get big and make a huge save for us. As we get into another chance in the 55th, Biragi was another surprise player in this one. We have an option to have him as our starting left mid, but he certainly provides more of a defensive presence, and that was kind of my thought process. We were conceding a lot of goals. I felt like having more of a defensive-minded player out wide would help us out, and he has the attacking ability right now, sending in a good cross to Vlahovic, and again, should at least be getting that effort on target. We're all the way into the 79th minute as we're going to go from side to side. Bonaventura, initially I wanted that to be played to Tecatito, but the extra pass was a little bit too much as he was called for offside. But fortunately, we still hang on to the clean sheet and a 1-0 victory. The good defensive performance was exactly what we needed, as it was enough for us to advance out of our Europa League group, ending up with a comfortable 12 points, which will see us finish second. But to close out the gameplay in today's episode, we have an important fixture in Serie A against Udinese. They have been another surprise team in this career mode. Right now, they're top 6. As you can see, we are 8th. A win would help us close that gap and get closer and closer to our goal of finishing in a Champions League spot by the end of the season. Another team that options for the 3 at the back tactics. They still have DePaul in this career mode. I know there were some rumors that he was linked with Liverpool at some point in the last season, but here he is captaining the side, and we'll see if the starting 11 has the quality to reflect their current league standings. I think it goes without saying Bonaventura has been the impact player of season 2, setting up Vlahovic with this chance, but it is Kouame who collects the rebound, resetting, and eventually this pass will fall in front of Vlahovic, in front of goal, and he's going to be clinical on this occasion. This is what we need him to be. Kouame kind of being the creator and Vlahovic being the clinical goal scorer. But Udinese looking to answer right back. It's a 1-on-1, and unfortunately Dromgoski unable to make this save. So Udinese find the leveler in the 27th minute. This has kind of been the situation for us so far with Fiorentina. Whenever we take the lead, our opponents seem to answer right back, but we will look to respond. Vlahovic again gets a shot blocked, but we're doing well to keep this chance alive. Romano getting a rare start, and he's going to showcase some skill moves to Kouame and this took a deflection, but I feel like Vlahovic almost should have been credited with the goal. It was probably heading for the far post, but the deflection from the defender is going to rebound it straight into the near post. Obviously, the keeper can do nothing about that, and it will be credited as an own goal. I've seen in some of my past career mode saves that sometimes you need just that little bit of extra luck to boost your squad's momentum and carry forward some good results. And maybe this is the case for us as we just about get a third goal before the halftime break. All things considered, though, extremely happy with that first half performance, and we carried that right forward to the second half. Romano playing through Kwame. Here's the pace, and he's going to spot out the run from Romano. That's his first goal for Fiorentina, hopefully the first of many. The young Italian winger has shown a lot of versatility so far, and I think he's going to be the perfect midfielder once that development plan is complete. But we're probably still a few episodes away from seeing the end result of that, so let's carry forward with some more highlights. 72nd minute, Tecatito, another good cross in the middle, and on so many occasions Vlahovic is getting in the right goal scoring positions, and I can only imagine once he gets a boost in his rating, maybe by season 4, he's going to be some player. Amrabat made the attacking run from the midfield. Udinese were pushing forward players on a corner kick, and I don't blame them. They were trying to get back into the match, but they're going to get further away from the result they wanted, as this one will end 4-1. It's important for our Serie A standings, which we'll get into now in the mid-season recap, and fingers crossed we'll be on our path toward Champions League qualification. Results-wise, we had a mixed run of form, but we're sitting in a comfortable spot for our league position. We would like to make the push for top 4 by season's end, which is still very much in the running, just 4 points behind Milan for that 4th place spot. We could even push even higher. And again, it's Bonaventura who is leading the way and being a true captain for this club. 10 goals across 23 appearances. Pretty good numbers from Kwame as well, as this is his first season as a starter. 7 goals from 20. Vlahovic with 6 goals from 21. We saw a preview of this in just half a season last year, but Tecatito contributing good numbers. 7 assists from 22 appearances. Bonaventura second with 4 assists from 23. And Romano, our homegrown talent, 3 assists from 19 appearances. We've seen some changes to our starting 11 since the start of the season. That Coman injury set us back a bit, but Juan Mata has in some ways stepped up despite his overall rating dropping. I think there's some very interesting decisions to make for us moving forward to this January transfer window and onwards. And just like we had a few episodes ago, I'm going to give you 3 different player pick options for who we should sign on a pre-contract deal, starting with a former Fiorentina player. It's Ilicic, who has his contract expiring at the end of the season from Atalanta. 33 years old in this save, but still at an 83 overall. I'm not sure exactly where he would fit in this Fiorentina side, as he is a left-footed center forward slash striker. We could potentially switch around our formation to better fit his play style. But anyways, getting into option 2, I think this one is probably the best one on paper, but it's not exactly an area of the team that we need to improve upon. I would argue that Isco was one of the world's best center attacking mids just a few seasons ago. Unfortunately, he has seen his overall drop since then, but still at just 29 years old, we should have no problem seeing him reach an 84 or 85 rating. This is another center midfielder option with João Mario, maybe taking away some talent from Inter, who are kind of dominating Serie A this season. He's just 28, 80 overall, and I would see him being more of a box-to-box type of midfielder. 4-star skill move, 4-star weak foot, medium work rates, pretty balanced in his statistics, so a utility player that we could use anywhere in this Fiorentina side. But I want to give a big thanks to channel members for supporting what we do here on YouTube. If you want to learn more about the membership program, click the join button right underneath the video. You get access to emotes they can use in the comments section, as well as chat for live streams. And you also get exclusive updates on behind the scenes of these career mode saves. But I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions on the decision for today's episode. I think I left y'all with a pretty good one, and I can't wait to pick up this recording for episode number 4. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, but until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.